Well, good morning, another week. First and foremost, happy Easter to everyone watching. Beautiful weekend. Might get some rain. Oh well, big deal. Spending a great amount of time with the family this weekend. It's been awesome. Cooked some really good food. I'm still going to eat more food later today. So if you don't hear from me tonight, I'm probably napping. Super busy week behind us. It was a blast. We chased crappies with the best of them, saw some serious transitions and some things which we'll talk about here, which I think is quite interesting, and I would love to get some feedback from some of you on maybe what you're finding. But I saw a unique change in fish behavior as we progress through the week. Now, this week ahead looks once again unstable. It's funny because a lot of my clients in the last week or so that we've talked with and we've gone out fishing with, phenomenal conversations, by the way. And one thing I really think is cool as a fishing guide, now that I'm back into it full time, and I addressed this week, is how much we learn from each other. I think as anglers, when we sit down and talk with one another, we all have difference in opinions and ways of doing things, much of which is all correct. Confidence thing, favorite rod, line choice, reel choice, bait, plastic, way of fishing. There's so many great ways to do this, so many ways to skin the cat, and all of these work. And I learned so much this last week from those I got to fish with on little nuances on ways they're working a bait, things like that. I think that's such a valuable point to bring up in our fishing community. As we fish with each other, you can learn from each other. You can learn from the things that someone else does. So that's been awesome. Great week ahead. A bunch more trips planned. Once again, going to be targeting crappies, maybe some sunfish, that sort of stuff. That's really all we can fish for here in the Twin Cities. Obviously catfish, rough-fish, carp, suckers, things like that too, but I'm targeting crappies with some bluegills mixed in. So we're going to go out there and have some more fun this week. But we just mentioned instability. We talked about it all winter long. Shocker. The forecast this coming week is up and down. The beauty of it is it doesn't look like it's going to get overly cold. I think I saw lows every day, pretty much in the 40s, no more of this 27, 30 degree stuff when we wake up, frost on the boat. I think that might be behind us, but I didn't see much in the upper 60s for highs either. So it looks like that 50 degree range, mid 50s is going to be kind of where we're going to spend most of our days. You're going to maybe peak out at 60, 62, 65 from what I saw this coming week. So once again, we're not going to see that insane warm up. So a lot of these patterns we're talking about here are going to be consistent, in my opinion, for this next week as well. We're not going to see this rapid change in temperature where our water temperatures go into the mid to upper 50s and all this weird stuff happens, because we're just not there yet. And I don't see enough coming down the pipeline to where that's going to happen. Now we're going to get a little warmer, no question. We're going to get a little warmer, and if we can get a couple days here where the sun peaks out, looks like Wednesday, mid to upper 60s and sunny, that's going to make a huge difference. But you're looking at today, the rest of Easter Sunday, maybe low 50s. Tomorrow, very similar pattern with rain coming in. Tuesday, more rain, maybe 60. And you got to remember that high is going to hit for about 2 hours this time of year. So not to be discouraging, the fish are biting. They're doing what they need to do. You're just going to throw on a rain jacket. You're going to bundle up. You're going to maybe look at the hourly forecast and plan your day a little differently. Simple things to get on the water and still have a productive day of fishing. I had some questions about fishing line. And we've mentioned this in the past. I mentioned this at the seminar at Thorne Brothers. I really like the fluorocarbon coated. This is Fluoro Clear from P-Line. Not a sponsor of mine. I just really like this fishing line. Pat Smith turned me onto this 25 years ago at Thorne Brothers, and this has been a mainstay of mine for open water panfish. 5-pound test. I use this a ton. Now again, this is a monofilament coated in fluorocarbon. It's not a fluorocarbon line, so it has the best of both worlds on how it performs. So P-Line, great. You can get it right at Thorne Brothers. You can order it on their website. P-Line, Fluoro Clear, 5-pound test. Why do I use 5-pound test? I just think it hangs all the various baits I want to fish great, from a 32nd ounce to a 64th to a 16th, all your various panfish sizes. I like to boat flip a lot of things. We're fishing around brush and cover, hooking on bobbers, taking them off. A little more abrasion resistance. You can certainly get by with 4-pound test, not deterring you one bit from using 4-pound test. Myself, I just use 5. It's a confidence thing. I've been using that for decades. So the fish, a lot of our fish are in the same area we had a week ago. They're in that 6 to 12 foot range. Those are your best biting fish, your best average size on what I'm seeing. Once again, I have not yet gone back into a boat cut, channel, harbor, any of that. A lot of anglers are catching fish doing that. Keep it up, by all means. I'm still fishing main lake weeds. I feel like I can more effectively cover water, give people more room for air, more opportunity to cast. I feel like there's a lot of fish there that want to bite. Quality fish are there, as well as your metro finest stunted 7 to 9 inchers, but plenty of 11s. We've gotten 12s, 13s, 13 and a halves. We've got some quality fish in those areas. Now, a lot of the fish that we saw in the weed lines, schools of them, thousands of them if you're looking at forward-facing sonar, I think a lot of those are your bluegills. Now, I mentioned right away in this video that we saw a change this week. It was Wednesday night into Thursday where we had one of our first nights this spring where the temperature didn't drop. It didn't get down to 30 degrees. You woke up and it was still 50 on Thursday morning. And I think what that did is it pushed all of them bluegills up commingling with the crappies in that 6 to 12 foot range, and they wanted to feed. It's funny because on some of these spots I've been fishing for 10 days, 2 weeks, I think I can count on one hand how many bluegills we've got in all of those days combined. We're using artificials, we're using plastics, we're not using little worms and maggots, things like that. So, but 5 or 6 bluegills, that's it. In days of fishing. Thursday, it was 50-50. Crappie, bluegill, crappie, bluegill, crappie, bluegill in the exact same spot. And my theory behind that is that we had the first night where the water temps didn't drop and kind of reset. Things stayed warm and all of them bluegills pushed up and they were hungry. So I've seen a big change here in the last few days with the bluegills kind of commingling more with the crappies. A consistent bite pattern, but you're not just crushing specks. You're crushing bluegills and crappies mixed in, which is kind of fun. People like that. And you got to get maybe a little more creative. The crappies also, you can clearly see on your electronics, slowly sunk a little deeper into the weeds. So we've been pitching jigs a little bit now here without a float, without a rocket bobber, still catching majority of our fish underneath a rocket bobber, but we are starting to pitch baits. And I think this coming week, we'll see that trend slowly continue. I'll report back next weekend on what we find in the next 7 days. I'll be on the water pretty much every day this week. Chasing crappies, continuing to figure them out, continuing to see what these fish want and what they're doing, and going out there and having fun here in the spring in Minnesota. So that's kind of what we're seeing. What are we catching them on? Oh boy. Minnow baits, like your flutter fry, like some of your Z-Man stuff, like your Mr. Twister, Sassy Sting'em. All those baits are catching fish. We're catching them on tubes. We're catching them on hair. We're catching them on a variety of different presentations. So insect-looking baits. Seems to me like you just want to be in front of a fish that wants to bite and it'll bite. And we've talked about that for months. Fish are going to bite or they're not going to bite, right? So I feel like if you get in front of a fish and you present something in a way they want it and they don't eat it, more than likely that fish is just not going to bite. I move on. The beauty of it this time of year is I can fan cast. I can cover a lot of space off one vantage point in the boat, which is nice. So you can really, really attack that little pot of fish. Nope, no biters. Attack that pot of fish. Oop, got a few biters. Maybe go back up 2 feet shallower around this side of the boat. Go back out this side 3 feet deeper on this side of the boat. So you have a little bit of an advantage this time of year to really cover the spectrum of water. So a lot of times I put my boat kind of right in that neutral zone and give people the opportunity to cast all those various spots. And if things aren't working, you just slide on down, especially if you are in and amongst the biomass of fish. So that's kind of what we're doing. That's what we're going to do this week. Water temps right now, upper 40s, teetering in the low 50s. We're not seeing 55 to 58 consistently yet. We're just not seeing it. Easter morning here, I woke up and it was once again chilly. You would need, I didn't fish today, but you would need a stocking cap on today, probably if you were out there fishing. A little bit of a breeze, chance of rain coming through this afternoon. So once again, spring-like conditions. It's middle of April. We continue to forget that. It's middle of April. It's still going to be chilly. I'm going to have the hat on, the vest, the gloves, maybe the long underwear, rain bibs, rain jacket. Live in my boat this time of year. You get that passing shower that will not just soak you, but really make you cold. So simple things to get after it and chase down some fish. So that's what we're looking at. Looking forward to a fun week ahead. Again, have a great rest of your Easter Sunday with the family. Hopefully you ate a ton of food. I'm going to eat some, like I said, eat some more here. Super pumped up. And behind me, you can see just a smorgasbord of stuff because I'm starting to think ahead into bass, walleye, game fish season. The Wisconsin opener comes up in a couple weeks, and then obviously the Minnesota opener. So I'm starting to redigest things in the garage, starting to think ahead, just so I'm not caught flat-footed. Obviously crappies is king right now, crappies and bluegills, but I'm starting to think and sort through game fish season as well. So get out there, have some fun, have a great week, and we'll hit you up in 7 days.